Hey everyone, welcome back to Heal, Survive, and Thrive. Today we're going to dive into something that seriously changed my life, reprogramming my subconscious mind. Now, I want you to think of this kind of like upgrading your mental software, because if you're stuck in a pattern that doesn't serve you, it's probably because your subconscious is running an outdated program. But I don't want you to worry about that. All I want you to know is we can actually rewrite our subconscious mind to give us the tools and to feel good in our own skin so we can actually have the things that we want. Because where it really starts, all the trauma, all the negative self-talk, all the inability to parent yourself, the self-doubt, the fear, all of that stuff, that is all your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is always working behind the scenes. It's shaping your thoughts, your actions, your beliefs. It's filled with the negative programming. It's filled with the trauma, the things like I'm not enough or success just isn't for me. It's going to keep creating a reality that matches those thoughts. The good news is you can actually change all of that. This was the deal breaker for me. This is where life started to really shift, because how I viewed life and viewed myself started to shift by changing my programming and how I viewed the world, myself, all of those things. So you're going to break free from really like self-sabotaging yourself. You're going to start building confidence and self-worth. All of a sudden, you're going to start to think, wow, I actually think I can do this. Like your whole mindset just starts to really change completely, because you no longer live in fear, lack, worry, and insecurity. You might occasionally visit those places, but you don't live there anymore. The bigger voice is going to be that powerful, healthy inner strength that we all want to have. You're going to start attracting better relationships, better opportunities. You're going to start reducing stress, reducing the anxiety. You're going to really create the positive habits that you have to have in order to have the things that you actually want. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. I don't like to waste time. You guys know I don't like the storytelling. I don't know. Maybe it's the East Coast girl in me. I just want to get to the point, like, and be very clear with this. I don't like my podcast to be, or even like my videos on YouTube. I just don't like long-winded stuff. So let's get right down to it. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. 1, 2, 3, get the notepad out, or listen to this again and again and again so you can really get the reminders into your head on what it is that you need to do. So how do we reprogram our subconscious mind? Number 1, write down, get a piece of paper. You have to be able to catch your limiting beliefs. Now, I know this is the first step, and I know it may seem a little, not necessarily difficult, but you think it's something that's easy. Okay, I'm just going to start catching myself every single time I'm thinking something that's a limiting belief or something that's negative or anything like that. But self-awareness is an actual skill. It's a practice. It's something that you have to train yourself on. You have to recognize when those beliefs are taking hold, when they're holding you back. You have to pay attention to the little voice that's inside your head and what it's saying. The way you can get really good at this, and I'm going to go back to kind of like maybe spirituality, maybe any kind of hippie thinking or whatever, is you really have to kind of start getting into your body a little bit. Your body will tell you when you start to feel like crap, and then you'll know that I feel like crap. I'm starting to feel like crap. And that's all because of a thought you were thinking, because everything you feel right now is honestly based on accumulation of a bunch of thoughts. So once you can start practicing that self-awareness, oh, I'm starting to feel a little something. What is it? Is it uneasy? Is it nervous? Is it anxious? Is it stress? Is it tired? Is it worried? Like, what is it? You can start to, once you can pinpoint the feeling, then you can start to go back to understand, where did this feeling come from? What are the thoughts behind the feeling? What was it that I was just unconsciously thinking or telling myself that has led me to now have this feeling? Then you can start questioning the actual story. Is this story true? And remember, the stories that you tell yourself 99.9% of the time are going to come from your inner self, your inner child. It's going to either come from your ego or your inner child. And those are the two wounded parts of you. So you have two parts of you, basically. You have a wounded part and you have a healed, higher than all knowing, connected to love, connected to God, source, universe, whatever, connected to something bigger than you, that you can see bigger pictures, but you're so clouded in the thoughts that you were thinking that it's screwing you up, basically. Okay? So we have to first be able to catch our limiting beliefs. We have to be able to catch those thoughts. We need to first know when we're feeling off. And this is where you should be doing check-ins throughout the day constantly on how you feel. How do I feel right now? When you're driving in the car on the way to work, hey, just stop and do a little check-in. How am I feeling right now? Do I feel good? Do I feel stressed? Do I feel tired? Why do I feel that way? If you're never doing check-ins with yourself, you're going to, really essentially you're neglecting yourself, and you're going to start to create problems. Here's where the problems start to arise, because you are not giving yourself the things that you need, which is you being healthy, really, to just check in with yourself to see how you're doing so you can avoid problems down the road. You checking in. Think about a parent checking in with a child. Hey, how are you doing? Hey, are you good? Hey, how did you have a good day today? Do you need anything? All these check-ins that a parent does is to avoid a problem down the road. It's to protect the child. It's to be inquisitive on how the child is actually feeling. So if none of that is actually happening, then what's going to happen? A problem is going to arise, a bigger problem that is going to be harder to resolve than if we just figured out the first signs of sickness so we could kind of nail it in the bud, right? Like just really fix this before it becomes something bigger. And sometimes we can't always fix the problems, right? Sometimes they go from 0 to 60, or life just hands us a crappy hand. But even if that does happen, you can still handle that experience in that situation the best way you know how, and you will be absolutely fine. But understanding the stories that we tell ourselves, I think that is really where the exclamation part comes, is do you realize that you are a product of how you were programmed? Now, when you're a child and you're essentially asleep, because really we didn't start forming logic until about age 7 or 8. So up until age 7 or 8, you were very much asleep. You can call it you were a blank canvas. You can, whatever analogy works for you, but you were asleep to what is around you. Meaning when you were in environments that were not good, that were unhealthy, when you were in a traumatic experience, all of those things, you were not equipped to be able to know what to do in that experience, or that experience was even trauma, or that experience was even unhealthy. So you're in situations, experiences that are not good for you, and you don't have the logical reasoning to go, wait a minute, none of this is normal. This isn't okay. I know why she's doing that. She's doing it because she's an alcoholic. He's doing it because he's upset because he had a crappy day at work, and that's why dad's taking this out on me. So you don't have that kind of reasoning, nor do you have the education to be able to do those things for yourself. So what ends up happening is that you take on the programming. You take on the fear that your parents had, the lack, the uncertainty, the stress, all of that. And it affects how you then will go out into the world later on in life. You're programmed by society. So all of these forms of programming, and P.S., you're always being programmed, because your programming is what you feed your mind with every single day. What you focus on every single day, what you choose to engage in every single day, eventually those things will seep in and they will disease you. So if you are very much self-aware of yourself, you will choose better things to watch. You will choose better words to repeat. You will choose different friends. You will be able to choose things for yourself rather than being asleep and going off into the world and realizing that all these things I'm doing or the situations I'm in are not helping me at all to feel the way I want to feel or get to where I want to be. So now what you're doing as an adult is you're looking at how you were programmed. Okay, that's step one. A lot of the times we don't realize, wow, the reason why I'm so fearful to start my own business is because I was taught that to own your own business, you have to be one of the very, very few people that can actually do this, or money doesn't grow on trees, or it's going to be really hard for you to be able to manage a business and then do this on the side. Like all these limiting beliefs that you have been downloaded, or maybe even you kind of engage with voluntarily yourself, but because you heard it once somewhere, you then have allowed it to seep into your conscious mind, which now affects how you feel about yourself, your world, your capabilities, all of those things. So we're trying to rewrite the script on how we view ourselves and the world and the abundance that's actually out there for you. Because when you start to reprogram your subconscious mind, you realize that all the things that you want for yourself, you can actually get. And that it's not as hard as people make it out to be. Yes, it takes work. Yes, it takes consistency. And those things are hard, but it's not impossible. When you think something is so impossible or it's going to be so incredibly difficult, then you fold. But when you know, hey, look, if I just stop trying to go from 0 to 60 and I just work on me going from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3, I can get there faster and I can actually start achieving the things that I want for my life and have the things that I want for my life. And all you need is that little bit of momentum to kind of get you going. So step 1 to reprogram your subconscious mind is we're going to start catching our limiting beliefs. We're going to be self-aware of how we feel every single day and understand the story behind the feeling. That's the first thing. Second thing, this really, really, truly was the game changer for me. And it sounds so overly simplistic, but I promise you, if you do this consistently every single night and day, as much as you possibly can, it will change your life. And I hate to sound so dramatic, but it will. Your brain believes what you tell it. That's it, period. Your brain believes what you tell it. If you are constantly repeating, and I'm literally having an epiphany because I can remember even just this morning a story or a thing that I keep saying to myself out loud that I keep repeating, that I'm like, I have to stop that because it becomes an addiction. It becomes a habit that you create for yourself. And by the way, that habit doesn't help you. It's not going to make you feel better by repeating this crappy habit. So if you are constantly repeating the negative things, guess what? Your subconscious will accept them as truth. So now we're going to flip the script. So here's how we kind of flip the script. We need affirmations. We need another thing to say other than the thing that you feel, which is you only feel it because you've thought it enough. I mean, think about this for a second. This is crazy. Everything you feel, you cannot feel anything without thought. You can't. It's impossible. Everything you feel, even the good stuff, you feel it because you had a thought first that created the feeling. So if you feel worried, stressed, depressed, I feel anxious, I feel self-doubt, whatever it is, I feel happy, I feel sad, it doesn't matter. You only feel it because of a story that you've told yourself. So now we're going to change the things that we tell ourselves. Now, it doesn't mean you're never going to say, I feel exhausted, I feel stressed. Like, no, of course. But once you've said it saying it one time is one thing. Hell, saying it 5 times is one thing. Saying it 50 times is another thing. So we're going to start to I don't want to say reflip what we say, but I want you to say it in a different way. I want you to say what you want to feel, not how you feel right now. Okay, so we're going to start doing some affirmations. We're going to start, I am worthy of love. I am worthy of success. I'm going to be successful. This is going to happen to me for me because I deserve it. Everything I need is already mine. I trust myself. No matter what happens to me in life, I know I'm going to be okay. I do know how to take care of myself. The more you say something, you eventually start to say it with more conviction. And the conviction is what actually makes you feel the thought and not just think the thought. So people will say, well, Steph, I'm really working on this and I'm doing my affirmations and I'm repeating this stuff and I don't believe it yet. Like, I don't buy into it. I hear you. If I said, I think I'm amazing, I think I'm amazing, I think I'm amazing, versus I think I'm amazing, I know I'm amazing. See, now that all sounds very different. You can repeat something all day long. I'm worthy of love, I'm worthy of love. And yes, even just repeating it regardless of the conviction in your tone, in your voice, you eventually will start to catch on a little bit. But the conviction and the tone in which you say it, you feel it. And when you feel it, then it really starts driving you to go forward. The next thing that I want you to really think about is, everything is a goal. So visualizing what you want to have happen before it happens is really a powerful kind of practice to do with your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between reality and your imagination. That's why visualization is so powerful. That's why you hear it everywhere. So I want you to take a few minutes every single day to start closing your eyes, and I want you to picture yourself living the dream life. What does it feel like? I want you to hear it. I want you to see it. I want you to live in it as if it's already happening. Isn't it funny how when we're little kids, the first thing that we learn to do is play make-believe. We use our imaginations and we turn ourselves into this person and we're living this life. And it feels so real that no one can tell us that this little mud pie that I just made isn't a real pie that I just made in the kitchen. So the stronger you keep that image in your mind, you're eventually going to start to feel the emotion of it. And the more your subconscious will work to actually make that real. Now you have a combination of two things happening. You have yourself in the practice of visualization, which is helping you to achieve your goals. And then you have the practice of affirming who you are. So when these two things start working hand in hand, you gain such momentum that even when things aren't happening when you want them to happen, you have no problem with keep on going. It doesn't hold you back the way it did before. So the reason why people stop, the reason why people fold when uncertainty happens or something's not happening the way they want it to happen is because one of those two things are not, or both of them are not being practiced. Either I'm not affirming myself constantly and working on reprogramming that inner dialogue and how I view myself and how I view the world and my capabilities, but I'm also not in the visualization of what I actually do want for my life. Most people don't really think about what it is that they want for their lives. They don't really goal set. They don't really plan. They don't really think about anything. All they know is they're unhappy, but they don't think about where they actually want to go. They've settled. They've settled for a life where day in and day out, they do the same thing every day. And they're so fearful of getting out of their comfort zone that they haven't even bothered to challenge themselves, even on a small goal, a small little tiny thing that could at least give them a little bit of momentum to really start moving themselves forward. They're stuck. And they're stuck because they are asleep. They're not aware of this information, nor do they think that even taking one little step is significant enough to be able to get them to really where they want to be because they're so focused on going from 0 to 60. So what I want you to do is I want you to start thinking about what it is that you do want for your life. And you have to spend time. Each of these things, think about it. We've already done 3 things. We've done self-awareness, being aware of really my limiting beliefs, practicing catching when I am feeling like crap, essentially. Then taking a step back to understand why I even feel that way and doing that level of self-reflection and owning the stories that I tell myself, practicing affirmations and learning how to flip the script on the things that I have been telling myself versus the things that I should be telling myself or how I actually want to feel, and really starting to goal set and doing some serious visualization. Those 3 things right there, they're not heavy things. They're actually fun because the more you do any one of them, you start to feel excited about life and you start to feel a little bit better. So if you're doing that every day, and I don't care how busy you are, I don't care how many kids you have, I don't care what your workload looks like I don't care. You can take 2 minutes out of your day and start practicing a little bit of this. It's absolutely unacceptable to not be doing this every single day. Because then the next thing is the consistency. How consistent are you going to be with repeating those affirmations every single day? Going to bed every single night listening to them? Working on your visualization and really thinking about goals? Because here's the thing, when you start setting goals for yourself, here come all the stories. What if this doesn't happen? I think I'm reaching too high. This is probably going to take too long. You start to see the fear, the limiting beliefs, all the ways in which you're going to self-sabotage yourself because your programming sucks. When you surround yourself with like-minded people. And I think a lot of us don't have those people around us. So look, if you don't have any of those people around you, I can't tell you how many times I've been on the phone with someone and they'll say, every single person in my life doesn't think like this. So how can I surround myself with positive people? The beauty of social media, and there are a lot of ways in which we despise it, I think, in terms of it being not real or fake, or we're only showing the glitz and glamour, is that you do see how similar you are to other people. Can't tell you how many times I watch videos, and I know you guys do as well, where we're watching something and we're like, that's me. I've thought that. I've gone through that. I've been there. I am there. So surrounding yourself with positive influences isn't just making sure all your family and friends are on board, because chances are they're not. The positive influences in your life are the people that you listen to in your podcast, right? The influencers that you follow, that you gravitate towards, the gurus, the books you read, the things that you consciously choose to do rather than just doing the same thing every single day and listening to the same story that your sister spews out about how, she can't find a man, or mom said that money doesn't grow on trees, or whatever the lack and the fear is inside of all of those people. You're starting to upgrade your environment. Your environment are the books, the podcasts, the blogs, what you choose to focus on in your algorithm on social. You guys know, all of a sudden you watch one freaking video and now your whole algorithm is based on that video. Consciously being aware that this platform is trying to just give me what it is that it thinks I'm focusing on every single day. Isn't that ironic? Listen to this. I just freaking had an epiphany in my own head as I even said it. Social media is your mind. It is going to give you what you focus on every single day. So whatever videos you're focusing on, all of a sudden here come all the videos like it. And now all of a sudden you're watching, the new Kardashian show or the new premiere of the Kardashians. That was me. I'm watching one little bit of Chloe and Lauren. All of a sudden I'm like, oh, here come all the videos. So it's no different. Your mind is the same thing. You focus on that one thought, you feed it just for a slight glimpse of your lunch break, and all of a sudden the rest of your day you're consumed with that thought. That's how powerful this stuff is. I want you to realize that all of this is something that every single one of us has to do. And it's not a lot of work, and it's not impossible. It just takes a little bit of self-awareness. Just for you to say, I actually want more for my life. I want to feel better. I want to focus on this goal and really actually start achieving it. But most people don't do that. Your subconscious it's open and it's ready for you to start feeding it some good stuff, but you actually have to do that. And I also want to mention too, your subconscious mind, the only time you can really, really, really tap into it is at night. Because when your conscious mind awakes, this is your thinking mind, it starts thinking. But when you're asleep, you're not thinking anymore. Your subconscious mind is alive, and that's how you're able to dream. But you're not consciously thinking anymore. So you have no distraction to the subconscious mind. So you have to look at the subconscious mind as like the beach. Or you're going down the tunnel and you see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you know that all of a sudden I got to walk through this rainstorm in order to get to the tunnel. Well, your conscious mind, your thinking mind is the cloudy rainstorm. And when you're asleep, that storm passes and you can walk straight down that tunnel to the light, to your subconscious mind. And that's why feeding your mind while you are sleeping is the fastest way to start reprogramming your subconscious mind. Because you can listen to this stuff all day long, but as I'm talking, your mind has wandered throughout this podcast at times. And then you had to bring it back to go, oh, wait, I wasn't even listening to that. What did she just say? Let me rewind that. So I want you to be self-aware of the fact that the quickest way you can do this is while you're sleeping, which, by the way, can we just state the obvious, is the easiest time to do it. It requires literally nothing of you. So absolutely no excuse to not be listening to something positive, affirmations, a guided meditation, something like that while you are sleeping so you can really get through that barrier into that subconscious mind. So I hope that this has helped you. You know, your subconscious is either going to work for you or it's going to work against you. There's really only two options, and it all depends on what you feed it. So by being aware of your own thoughts and using affirmations and visualizing your future and staying consistent and doing just this little bit of stuff every single day, you can actually completely rewire your mind for success, for happiness, to find the love of your life, like anything you want. So I want you to really start focusing on, if there's any practice that you can do. If someone has ever asked me, hey, what's the one thing that really changed your life? The first thing that comes to my mind is, yes, self-parenting, because that's the waking, practice that you're doing, but it was also feeding my mind every night while I was sleeping. Doing that, all of a sudden I started saying, I think I can actually do this. And my mind started changing on what I was actually capable of. And what caused that? The only thing that was different was the fact that I was listening to affirmations and guided meditations while I was sleeping 8 hours every night. Every night. Nothing else was changing. I was still, home with the baby all day. I'd go to the gym and go to the grocery store. But all of a sudden I felt like a little shoulders back, a little chest out, I think I can do this. I feel a little confident in myself. What changed? That changed. My subconscious changed. How I viewed myself, how I viewed the world. So if you want one thing to start practicing, now here's the thing too that I want you to remember is doing this. Yes, you're going to see change and you'll see it quickly, but you also then have to take action. You can have the healthiest mind in the world, but if you're not ready to get a little bit out of your comfort zone and just push yourself a little, and here's where the self-parenting comes into play, then nothing is going to change. And eventually, to be frank, you'll have a healthy mind that'll eventually turn to disease again. So work on the mind, but then actually take action. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Don't forget to, if you're not following me on YouTube, you can go check me out over there. Links are always down below. Hope you guys are well, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.